What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. As you can see, we've gotten a lot of snow in Calgary over the last week. Last week in about 5 days, between Saturday and Thursday, we probably got 45 to 60 centimeters, somewhere around that range. As you can see, it's piled up a good 1.5 feet on top of the 240. So today I'm gonna dig it out, and then I'm gonna pull the front bumper off, and we're gonna start on the Rocket Bunny bumper modification that I want to do. This Rocket Bunny bumper that's on the car is actually one of the only Rocket Bunny bumpers that doesn't come with the 5 LED DRLs that a lot of the other bumpers come with. I'll insert like the S15, the 350Z, the FRS, BRZ, the NSX, a bunch of those kits all have the 5 LED DRLs. So I want to do that conversion. I want to take out this this brick light that's there and swap that to the 5 LEDs. I've already ordered the LEDs, so they should be here in a few days. But for starters, we're gonna have to fill this hole and then make it so that it's just a smooth bumper. So I have all the fiberglass and resin and sanding materials that I'll need to do that. But first, I'm gonna dig this guy out. All right, so these pieces, these lights right here are what I'm gonna be deleting. I'm gonna take those out and going to be filling in this gap so it's smooth across the front here, and then having the 5 LEDs across the front. So it should be really unique, a really cool front bumper. The first step here is going to be taking out these stock lights, which is just, it's just 2 Phillips screws on each one. Awesome. So there's that stock light. Looks like it's been smoked. Kind of cool. These might be worth some money to somebody. Next step in this is going to be cutting out this whole intersection here, so that we can create the flat plane, and we can pile fiberglass mat from the back of it. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna use my grinder wheel here, and I'm gonna cut from the outside, and I'm gonna cut right along this ridge. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'm gonna be rebuilding this whole surface, doing a bunch of work to get this smooth and make it look like there was nothing there ever, because we want a fresh canvas to work from when we go to inset the 5 LEDs. And we're not just gonna mount the LEDs flat in the surface here, they're actually gonna be laid back about 1/2 centimeter to a full centimeter into the bumper. There's a really cool way of doing that using PVC pipe. But yeah, I'm gonna cut this right now, and we're gonna see where that goes. Remember, when you're using grinders, use the appropriate safety equipment and knowledge. If you're not comfortable with a grinder, get someone who is to do your grinding. All right, now I'm just using a Dremel to get these last little bits out here. we go. Now we have a fresh canvas to work from. We're just gonna build this up from the back now. As you can see, there isn't all of that built up there. So we're gonna put fiberglass from the back, and then we're gonna lay squares in the middle, do a little bit of overlap, sand this down so that it's nice and rough so that it'll adhere to it, and it's gonna look amazing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do the other side now, and then next we will reconvene in my basement where I'm gonna set everything up so it's nice and warm so that we can do fiberglassing down there. All right guys, so we are now downstairs in our very 1980s, 1970s basement. I got the bumper here. I put on a tarp just because sometimes the stuff can get messy, and since we're not doing the garage, I want to be able to clean up the mess relatively easily. So that's what the tarp's for. And basically right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean off the entire bumper. I'm gonna get all the fiberglass dust off of it. And then we're gonna go and we're gonna scuff everything around the edges on the outside and on the inside. And then what I'm gonna be using is this plastic sheeting right here. And I'm gonna put it tight over the front here, and then we're gonna lay fiberglass from the back side, and we're gonna use that to kind of hold the fiberglass in place there, and that will give us our essentially mold. And once that is dry, then we'll have a rigid structure that we can fill any little bits in with. I'm gonna take this 100 grit sanding pad that I got right here, and just gonna scuff up around the edges here. We have both of these spots here all sanded, roughed up and prepped. I just wiped them down with a wet towel. So they're a little bit damp right now, but we're gonna let them dry off for a minute. And then what I'm going to do, and we'll turn this guy around here. I'm gonna place this sheeting across the front here, and we're gonna have it nice and tight. And then we're gonna start to lay the fiberglass in from the back side. And that's gonna create our first layer. We'll let that dry. And then once that's thick, or once that's hardened, we'll be able to keep layering and add on for strength and make sure it follows the curvature of the front. All right, so as you can see, this is nice and tight along here. There we go, that's a better angle. So it's nice and tight. It's gonna make it so that we'll have a good base to put the fiberglass on. And yeah, one thing that I am gonna do is I'm gonna put a little bit of either like PAM or like some kind of lubricant on the inside of this, just so that it's easy to take it off and so that the resin doesn't adhere to the actual plastic itself. So yeah, we're gonna tape up the other side and then start with this. As you can see, we got this nice surface right here, this clear surface that is actually very tight, that we can lay the fiberglass into now, and we'll get started on that. All right, so I didn't have any Pam, but in the effort of trying to create a very, a surface that's not gonna stick, I put some butter on a napkin, and I'm just gonna kind of wipe it on there. I know that you use this in baking, on like pans and stuff, so we'll see how it works. We'll see if it translates. I'm sure that there's loads and loads of bodywork people that are cringing, but that's fine because if it works, it works. This isn't anything super crazy professional. This is gonna be budget, but it's gonna turn out really, really good. Next up, what I did was I cut out the first pieces of fiberglass that are just slightly larger. So we're gonna get some resin and we're gonna lay those in there. And yeah, we'll wait for this first one to dry. And then once that one is dry, then we'll start to layer on the rest of them. Also something to mention, when you're using resin and stuff with fiberglass, it's always good to use gloves because this stuff gets everywhere and it is a pain in the ass to get off of your skin. So I'm gonna mix this stuff up right now. It has the ratio instructions on the back of the bottle. It comes with a little can or a little bucket and a stick to be able to stir and mix everything up. And then I have these set in here, and basically I'm just gonna pour the resin on and smooth it out until that is nicely saturated, and then we'll let that guy dry, come back in a bit, and then play along with a few more layers. Okay, start out with that. We're gonna basically just get this nice and saturated. Okay. Perfect. We're just gonna put a second one on there for now because we got a bit of extra resin. So as you can see, we got both sides fiberglassed up. I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit and dry. Gotta let the hardener do its job and get that stuff nice and firm. But I'm pretty excited. That went on quite well, and then hopefully we'll be able to pull the plastic off of the other side and yank that off. So let's fast forward about an hour and a half or two.
2 hours later.
This stuff is pretty rigid. Let's see how this one is. So let's look. All right. So as you can see, we got the plastic on the front there. I'm gonna peel this tape off and then we'll see how this works. Hey, look at that. That came off very nicely. So now we have the fiberglass. All the plastic has come off. A little bit of the ink from the plastic has stuck on here, but that's all right. I'm gonna peel the rest of this off Now we have an awesome platform here to work off of to build this up and make sure it's nice and smooth and follows the contour. But if you look at it from the side here, it actually is really good. We just have these little gaps to fill now. But yeah, I am pretty happy with that. As you can see, we've basically completed the first steps that are necessary to do this LED conversion on this bumper. We cut out the old headlight inserts and we put the new fiberglass in, and we tried to get it as smooth as possible with the profile of the bumper, and I think I've done a pretty good job at that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this sit overnight, harden up a little bit more, and then I'm going to add a few more layers of fiberglass on the back of it just to thicken the whole thing up. And then we will reconvene in the next episode where I will be doing a little bit more of the filling and profiling and getting it to be like perfectly smooth with the front of the bumper. We want it to look almost as if, or basically as if there had never been any kind of holes or anything there, because we want a blank canvas to work from. And then this will probably be a 2 or 3 part series. I should be getting the LEDs around the end of the week, early next week, and then we'll be able to start to kind of mock up where all of the holes are going to be and how we're going to do that. We're going to be using PVC pipe for that, and we're going to kind of inset the LEDs a little bit back into the bumper, and it's going to be really cool. So yeah, thanks for watching. It's nice to be able to make some videos again. It's been so cold outside. It was like minus 25 or colder for the last few days, and we've had so much snow also. So working down here in the basement is good, and I think I'm gonna try and do a lot more videos where I can take parts off the car and work on them down here. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next video. Pizza!